Thanks for checking out the Affecting Our Altruism podcast. I'm Elliot, effectiveness coach and host of this show. Affecting Our Altruism brings you the voices of people who are doing incredible work to effect positive change in the world. We explore our unique relationships with the principles and community of effective altruism. Some identify with it, some don't really. Yet all of us care deeply about using reason and evidence to make the world a better place. As a coach, I love working with people committed to putting their values into action. If you'd like to make more of a positive difference in the world, consider booking a free one-to-one coaching call with me to discuss effectiveness sessions. My coaching work is a profit-for-profit business, meaning most of the profits it makes go to charity. Now, here's a second episode we recorded at the EAG Canada retreat in August 2024. Soon Ken, or SK for short, How Young, joined Rethink Charity in 2022 as an operations engineer, improving processes and systems across the organization. He has a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, Management Information Systems from San Jose State University. SK went on to lead software development teams in Hong Kong fintech startups. SK is a fixture of the vibrant Vancouver effective altruism scene today. Outside of work, SK gets competitive with his friends at sports, including skiing, bouldering, and Valorant. All right, so in our evening session, we talk about RC Forward as well as SK's personal takes. When SK heard the modest proposal of effective altruism to just stop and be a tiny bit more rational when considering others, he found resonance in his values of frugality and impartial care. Like, why waste? Seriously. RC Forward has carried out its duties to the effective donation space for years now, and it's time they get some love. It's a small but critical part of the EA ecosystem. We touch on the value of reconnecting with our colleagues in person, practicing humility in our truth-seeking, a little bit of history of RC Forward, like names, and how some partnerships have changed over time. We talk about what keeps SK motivated and chugging along, and he even drops some info about volunteer opportunities at RC Forward, for those interested. Now, this is the purest piece of Canadian content I released. If you're not a taxpayer in Canada, if you're not a Canadian taxpayer, honestly, just skip this episode. But for you non-Canadians, I do recommend you check out my previous episode with James from Giving What We Can. It was awesome. But for you Canadians, please listen on to learn how to literally fund the best charities instead of the Trudeau government. So we're grateful that SK took time out of his evening to join us today. Have a listen. Welcome, SK, to the Affecting Our Altruism podcast.
Hi. Hi, everyone. And hi, Elliot. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed EAGX Toronto this weekend. We're here at Center for Social Innovation in Spadina in Toronto. We just came back, finished the weekend of activities where we all talked about EA stuff, effective altruism topics, and we got a lot of connections were made, especially around the Canadian scene. And so I wanted to show the world what SK is doing in the effective giving space. How was your weekend?
The weekend is has been quite great for me, actually.
Yeah.
It's been great to connect with friends, a lot of friends that I work with on a daily basis. We have calls, and now we get to see each other in person.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people that that we believe in the same thing, in trying to do the most good in the world, and seeing them again, it recharges me and it keeps me going at the same time. So I always think that I would not enjoy the conference before I go, because it feels like a lot of work would drop by the wayside. But after I attend it, I see all my friends again. I see all the people doing the same things. It always recharges me, and I'm always glad I went.
Cool. It could be exhausting to go to these conferences, and glad to hear that it actually puffed you up in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the highlights for you?
I think some of the highlights are definitely when on an unexpected catching up with friends. we're all in the same community at large, and sometimes just casual conversations about our work could spark new ideas and to do some of our work better, and or like sometimes there's a new insight. And this happened during this conference. I was just catching up with a friend. I mean, most people are my friends now, and they gave us they told me that the things they're working on, and I'm like, great. We could totally use that, and that is such a like why didn't I think of it? So, for example, it's someone who helps with basically uh, marketing or communications kind of consulting for EA organizations. And now that we had chat, I realized we could use that help, and we could potentially like uh, effectively like use some of our grants to do certain things. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do in your work?
Uh, for me, my work, I run RC Forward. That's rcforward.org. It's an effective giving platform that allows Canadians to donate to high impact charities and to donate to them tax effectively, basically.
So you tell me that in other ways, Canadians don't have a way to donate to high impact charities.
They do. Unfortunately, some for most of them, if you donate to them directly, you might not be able to get a tax credit back. But with RC Forward, it is a good way to donate and have some sort of guarantee that it's that there'll be tax credits basically.
Yeah. And what are some of the charities that RC Forward forwards charity to?
Yes, for example, Against Malaria Foundation, one of the EA favorites, we forward to them. At the moment, we have the Humane League in the animal welfare space. We have Faunalytics also in the animal welfare space, and quite a few more. And we're getting more setting up to our site, and hopefully soon we'll have Malaria Consortium, which is also GiveWell top charity. We'll have new incentives coming up pretty soon, and there's many more that are deemed high impact by like the EA charity evaluators, and those just name a few.
How do you get people into that? How do you get charities to be accessible through RC Forward? Partnerships?
Yes. Basically, yeah, we have to go through a process of due diligence. We have to work through grant agreements, and we have to set that all up, and that takes quite some time. And because we're a platform, we're the ones that would do all that work so that Canadians can donate tax efficiently. That's probably the gist. I mean, I'm sure you don't want me to go into details, but yeah, that's kind of like the top level summary of how we have to do it.
Sure. Yeah, the level of detail is, we can find the right sweet spot here. Yeah. And so, like, these high impact charities, which people that are seen as being more effective or sometimes far more effective than average charities, they exist as entities in Canada, the UK, other places like that, right?
Yeah, most of them are based in the US, and most of the charities that we partner with are based in the US. Some of them are in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Does RC Forward, if there's charities in the United States that are, charities in Canada, RC Forward doesn't have a role to play for that, right?
No, there is. If EA as the evaluation team from the community, from other charity evaluators such as GiveWell, deem them to be of a certain cost effectiveness, we will be happily featuring them on our platform, and we can forward it to them as well.
Okay.
On the platform.
I'm thinking of like some of the AIGS, like AI safety, or the animal justice Canadian one. I'm sure there's others.
Yes. And for those, we unfortunately we have a very small team. We rely on the work of other charity evaluators, partners basically, such as GiveWell, animal charity evaluators, which are the experts. They have the researchers, they have the research team to investigate these charities, to determine whether they pass a certain bar. And we rely on their expertise on that. So at the moment, some of them have not looked into some of these organizations yet, and because we don't have the capacity to, so we rely on them to tell us if they are uh, of a certain like cost effectiveness.
Hmm.
Or
So, SK,
Mhm.
I'd like to hear like a little bit about like how you got into this type of work and
Mhm.
like what keeps you going.
um, what keeps me going? Oh yeah, let's start with how I got into the work. I was on Reddit, and I probably spent too much time on Reddit. One day I saw Peter Singer's Reddit AMA, which is Ask Me Anything, and then he talked about the drowning child experiment, thought experiment, and then linked to his TED Talk. And in his TED Talk, he talked about the drowning child and the effective altruism movement. And the the gist is of the thought experiment is, if there's a child drowning in front of you, like, would you jump in even if you're wearing a fancy suit to save the child? Most people will answer yes, because the cost of a fancy suit getting wet is not, it's definitely much it's negligible, like, compared to a child's life. And then the uh, and then to that, Peter Singer says that, and I think it's true. I mean, I definitely think it's true that there are children not drowning, but probably dying from preventable diseases
Mm-hmm.
across the world. And there are very cheap ways to probably prevent that death. And sure, some of it might cost more than a fancy suit, but it might cost 10 fancy suits. I don't know, because I don't have a fancy suit. But the idea is that children are dying from preventable diseases, but we don't see them, and that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And we have a more obligation to help them, and that resonates with me a lot, especially on the helping part. And we have to do something. And then he talks about the idea of uh, if we agree that we want to help um, people and prevent deaths, how should we go about it? And then he talked about we should try and help as many as we can. And for me, I'm a cheap bastard. I'm a very cheap person. I always look for value in everything, and as I know of my moral altruistic ambition, and I definitely feel that my personal values of seeking value everywhere I go to maximize how much my dollars are worth. Uh, Basically, the idea connects with me, that I want to maximize how much lives I can save, how much deaths I can prevent per dollar of my donation. And that itself is very compelling, and that's how I got started. And that's kind of like a long-winded story. And what keeps me going? I was having a private for-profit job at the time, and soon after I started donating 10% of my income to effective charities. And at the same time, I started to learn more about maybe my talents could be much better used to help enable more effective donations. And long story short, I saw a job opening when I moved to Vancouver that basically to help run RC Forward, and I jumped on the opportunity. And what keeps me going now, seriously, it's meeting people in the EA community and other people who are trying to do the most good, uh, and and at the same time, like, we're discussing about ideas where we could be wrong, and I'm just stoked that we are not so confident in our approaches, that we constantly deeply reflect on how we are doing things, and that's like one of the best things.
You know, SK, I can really hear like
Mhm.
you talk about your values and what really this means to you, and I'm curious to hear about like that value about frugality and
Mhm.
efficiency. And is that something that's been a part of your life for like maybe your background or something you
Yes,
grew up
yeah. I always joke about this. It's a stereotype. Maybe I shouldn't be, try to um, promote the stereotype. But people from my country, and specifically my hometown, are quite frugal. Sometimes, it might have gone overboard, but the values definitely has been instilled to me by my family as a kid. For example, if we go to buffet, we'll never eat rice.
That's a good call.
We'll never take rice. We'll always go for the most expensive dish in the buffet.
You gotta go backwards through the buffet line, right?
Um,
Or is that how it works?
yeah. Basically, we just skip to the front, or we just look at the rice and just laugh at it. Like, yeah, who eats rice at a buffet? And that kind of has been instilled in me, and also I had the opportunity to go to school in California. And I grew up in Malaysia, and things were expensive compared to how much I used to spend in Malaysia, obviously, and I had to basically survive with a limited amount of budget, and I made it happen. I mean, partially, mostly because I've been very frugal, and I was also fortunate to have like on-campus jobs, and yeah, things work out. But throughout my whole life, like frugality has been a core value of mine and my family as well.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. You mentioned a couple charities that RC Forward supports. Are those some of them? Do those map accurately onto your personal like cause prioritization matrix? Personally, like which causes like excite you the most? Like that motivate you that you feel like need the most attention now? Do they map equally, or is there like do you have a personal take that doesn't quite reflect in what RC Forward's portfolio has?
Yeah, I think we are also going through some changes at the moment at RC Forward. The way we are set up at the moment, we cannot support long-termist type of causes, and that precludes some type of charities, for example, AIGS or any type of AI safety organization. For now, there are plans to rectify that to include more of those. For me personally, I came in from a global health angle. So that's what inspired me into the movement and into the work I do. And like somewhat more recently, I've begun to like dig deeper into like animal welfare issues, and at the same time, when it clicked for me for global health, quite recently, it has clicked for me for animal welfare. And for me, I'm at the moment like quite leaning towards animal welfare, like especially farm factory and farm animals. That's very, once again, we don't see it happening doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And then obviously Elliot and I would know like there are tons of evidence it's happening. So yeah, now I'm on the stage where I'm trying to learn more about animal welfare issues, and I will move a significant chunk of my donations to that.
How often do you like twiddle with the allocations? It's kind of a slow process, or
quite often actually. I think that's the beauty of deciding to donate effectively. It's not a particular decision to support a charity, like one specific organization forever, because the whole idea is to support the best charity, and in some sense, right? And that could always change. And with science, we all discover new scientific theories from time to time, and the same is probably true for the world. Like we learn new things about the world from time to time, and the best things at the moment might not be the same best thing later. And therefore, like with new information, especially for ourselves, we can definitely switch it up, so to speak. And as long as it crosses our own personal bar for effectiveness.
Is that called Bayesian updating?
Yeah, I believe EAs like to use the term Bayesian updating.
Yeah. I like to pretend I know what that means.
Yes, there's. Some people you call it like open-mindedness, or like in Reddit, if you're familiar, Reddit has changed my view and things like that. I did particularly seek out new information to change my own view, and also being surrounded by EAs who are notoriously, I wouldn't use notoriously, but who are obsessively like talk about seeking the truth, and like being around the people in the community just makes you want to seek the truth more. And
that's a very positive review.
Okay.
Yeah, I like thank you for that. Yeah. To be around truth seekers, that's I like that. Really gives me I like that, how that feels in my body. Like to be in a community of truth seekers, I feel very safe considering myself. And Honestly, my weekend at EAGX has felt kind of religious. It's thinking about my deepest beliefs about how the world is and my role within the things going on in this world. If my religion was a materialist one, like where human well-being is and animal and sentient well-being is the greatest good, like yeah, this is church. And there's there's like there's a lot of signs that you're there's a language in effective altruism like Bayesian, Botek, Fermi, Fermi
paradox. Yeah.
Fermi estimate.
Yeah,
is a
there you
Botek,
go. Yeah.
which means a guess. Epistemics is like how people think, how people think about their thinking. Scout mindset. There's jokes about that. P-doom. A lot of the probability that doom is happening, or the probability of doom happening in a certain
from AI.
Yeah. It felt like this weekend. I've been amongst a lot of compatriots or co-religionists. Whereas thinking about us as if we are indeed truth seeking, that's great. Like I think religions often think of themselves as truth seeking or truth having. Because there's no further truth to seek.
Probably. Yeah.
But I'd rather be in the truth seeking club. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That is the same. And then if you think back about when you're a kid, when you're a child, as you learn more and more about the world, like new information comes in very often, and your idea of the world changes. And the world's huge. Things are so complex. What makes us think that we know everything there is to know? And PhD, any PhD students, graduates in any subject will tell you like, yeah, I spent my whole 5, 6, 7 years studying this one topic, and I probably just increased the knowledge of humanity on that topic by 0.1%, 1%. And guess what? It probably might not be super useful either for humanity. But and then maybe my colleague, another PhD student, increased it by another 1%. And that was years of work. And imagine there's so much to learn about the world, and like we should always be open to be seeking the truth. And obviously, science is not perfect. Like things might not replicate in some ways, but we do our best. And obviously, there are ways to try and mitigate some of the potential biases that we might have.
Does RC Forward have like an executive level of like determining like who's in and who's out sometimes, where it's not just about the financials and the technicals and the compliance, but it's also about like, oh, you SK find that something's going on, something fishy in this particular organization. Do you have like that kind of I don't know, control is a word, or authority or decision making in your company?
Yes, in some ways, but
I'm probably being hypothetical. Hopefully, I'm being hypothetical here. I don't have any knowledge of like anything fishy happening.
I think I will make my recommendations to the board, and the board trusts me, and I do provide more transparency, like than needed on many. Like if I encounter things, the board has been very supportive of my role in RC Forward, and if there are things, rumors, I mean, sometimes you have to start investigations. Then with the information we provide, like I uncover and provide to the board, like decision will be made, and then my recommendations will be weighted heavily, of course. And then on the other hand, our policy at the moment is definitely like much more not too strict. Having said that, we are having less organizations on our platform than maybe say 2 years ago. Partially for operational reasons, because some of the partner charities are not raising enough funds, so it kind of costs us dearly, like compared to the funds that we're moving for them.
Oh, I see. So the cost of the partnership needs to be considered in relation to the overall throughput of the partners.
Yes, yeah. As part of our like streamlining, which is a buzzword, but it is trying to make our operations more lean and more cost effective.
Was RC Forward involved in the Worm Wars?
What is the most?
I'm going to butcher it, but it was like a period of time a couple of years ago when people were questioning. Is it called SCI? I can remember.
Okay.
Schistocytosis
Yeah.
Initiative.
Schistosomiasis.
Thank you. Yeah. Say that for the record.
Schistosomiasis.
Schistosomiasis.
I think I have it right.
So I think that was that organization. There was a lot of discussion about how risky a bet that intervention was.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was either helping or not helping was a very wide confidence interval.
Mm-hmm.
And some people said, like, this is not acceptable. We can't. And I think since then there have been interesting conversations about how we integrate expected value. Like Rethink Priorities has done research on this. Mm-hmm. How we integrate cost, like risk aversion into our decisions. But so was SCI never on a partner?
SCI is, I think they're still a partner on ours. I have to double check. It's mostly also part of cost of operations, but we have seen their numbers being reduced. And I believe they have since renamed their organization.
Oh.
Unlimited Health. Is that correct?
Post-Worm Wars.
Yeah. Yes, so we have seen their donations go down. And they are also a registered Canadian charity in partnership with, I believe, CAF Canada. And that, in some ways, also reduces our operational overload in terms of more overhead. And it is quite easy for us to move funds to them. Mm-hmm. At the same time, they are not raising significant amounts compared to other charities. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like we move a little bit of funds. It doesn't cost us much time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're happy to keep you there. We might not be featuring some of the charities that does not meet our bar, mm-hmm. but there is still an option.
Sure. Yeah. By the way, if I butchered any part of that narrative, please, stakeholders in the conversation, please let me know so I can edit it or put some notes in the show. Yeah, thanks for that insight and the story. Sorry to hear that they're not doing as well as mm-hmm. Would make it easy for RC Forward to contribute. So but also glad that they have a Canadian entity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't have a Canadian entity per se, but they work with another partner to make sure that
CAT something.
Yeah, CAF Canada. Yeah.
CAF.
CAF.
CAF. CAF.
Charities Aid Foundation.
Charities Aid Foundation. Okay. Yeah, I'm learning the alphabet soup of the
and these are of course like some of the more nitty gritty parts of moving funds and grant making that most donors might not understand, but it does take up a lot of our time and work sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate SK. Mm-hmm. What your RK, RC, SK, a lot of letters. I appreciate what you're doing for Canadians mm-hmm. Because if Canadians couldn't donate to these charities, either they would maybe just not donate anything to them or take a loss in that other Canadians would get if they donated to like a church or a pound mm-hmm. or an animal shelter that wasn't effective. Mm-hmm. So you're creating like tons of value for Canadian people. Mm-hmm. Well, not for Canadian. Well, the first user is Canadian people. Then mm-hmm. the secondary is like actually the world at large mm-hmm. For people and animals who need help. So thanks for that. Mm-hmm. Like, on behalf of, thank you from the future.
But I'm not gonna say you're welcome. I'm also doing this. Some people think it's selfish reason. Some people think it's not. But I'm doing it for the charities, and hopefully, everyone gets something out of it. And I just want to increase the amount of good that's being done.
Yeah. Tell me about your team. What's it like to work on your team?
It's at the moment we are actually down to 1.5. And so we just hired a part-timer. His name's Nathan. It's been great to work with. And he's based in the US at the moment. He's actually not Canadian, but
spy.
Yeah. But he has great experience in grant making. In the US, so those experiences are helping us at the moment quite a lot, and I'm super grateful to have found Nathan to be on the team.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunately it's a part-time engagement at the moment, but I could see it growing much bigger, much faster.
Good luck, Nathan. Mm-hmm. I recall you were at the Career Opportunity Fair this weekend. Mm-hmm. Was it because you were looking for a role to be filled, or some?
Yeah, we are actually looking for volunteers to help with RC Forward. Although I have to add a disclaimer. We might not have the capacity to bring everyone, or maybe even anyone, depending on the fit, to help us as a volunteer. But we would definitely look at the profile. I think some, depending on the skill set, I and time, I want to be able to offer something back to the volunteers as well. I don't want it to just be like, hey, come and help, and you do your own thing, and I spend very little amount of time checking in or even mentoring, and I want to be able to offer something back, just on top of, like, maybe you feel like you get to do something good. I want to offer something on top of, where maybe I can help with the career development. I can help you upskill some parts of the skills like you think you might want to get better at. So because of that, I tend to make sure, like, I would have the capacity to do so. And having said that, I do generally, I think, could be wrong, past volunteers or interns, please correct me. I do spend more time trying to bring them up to speed and showing them new things, cool new things that I might be passionate about, and could realistically, help them in their career in many ways.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Wow. Okay. What roles could volunteers and interns help out with?
At the moment, we could use some help with maybe some programming. We're automating a lot of our donation platform side of things. I've automated quite a few, almost quite a lot of them. It's still some manual work, but it can be fully automated. On that, I have programming experience, so happy to mentor and help provide value, feedback there. We're also looking for communications volunteer with helping us to maybe grow our donations and maybe target more people who might be interested in donating effectively. And maybe also we're looking for someone with some maybe web design experience. I've built websites before for startups, and I have a sense of what is good and what is not good. But for me to do it really well by myself, it's very hard. But I think I can also help provide some good feedback for someone who wants to learn it a bit more.
So programming, communications, and web dev.
Web design.
Web design. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. What's the difference between web design and web dev?
It's a whole lot.
Is it aesthetics? Fonts, colors.
There might be some debate.
Didn't want to get into a can of worms.
Yeah, it's a different can of worms. It might
another episode.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Web something with a D in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so good luck finding this. Well, did you find any? Without naming names, did you find in EAGX Toronto? You found like people who are excited about these, people who could be a good volunteer or intern?
I did spoke to a few. I haven't checked our interest form yet. I hope they did. I thought allowing them to put in the LinkedIn URL is a good idea, but it seems like it's a blocker. LinkedIn URL or public resume, or hidden but public resume of sorts. That might have been a blocker. But some people are quite interested, so we shall see.
Cool. Well, my experience in working with volunteers this weekend has shown me that if EA volunteers are like a really competent bunch, like they are PhDs, they are founders.
Maybe sometimes.
Some of them.
Yeah, maybe sometimes that's why I feel like I need to also help provide value and not just like use their expertise and like not provide anything back. Although like they might not mind as much, but I feel like I want to be able to help in some ways as well. So.
Yeah, there were some volunteers this weekend who like stated like an interest in growing in like operations, and damn, those people like showed up. And people who just want to just get to meet people and know people, and they found what they wanted. Volunteers are sometimes really exciting.
Yeah,
exciting stories.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything. I'm sure things might be chaotic in the back. I've long time ago.
No,
I've run events, but and that is how it is. But on the surface, it is great, and they must have worked really hard to make sure it was smooth. And then grateful for that.
Cool. Yeah. Good luck in filling those. And what do you expect to see in RC Forward in the coming like years, months?
We have something exciting to hopefully announce soon. I'm not going to share. But at the same time, we are preparing to ramp up for Giving Tuesday and towards going to the giving season at the end of the year. So please watch out. And end of the year is generally the best time to donate as you look at your finances and your wealth and your taxes. And that is the best time, I guess, for most people to give. I normally give at the end of the year as well. So we'll be having some campaigns to help some of the best charities to fundraise from our site.
Wow.
And that's something to look forward to. And hopefully we have something exciting to share as well, which I will not reveal what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leave us one looking for more.
Yeah, teaser, yeah.
Okay. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, SK, thank you so much for your time. It's been really good I've loved getting to know you a bit more. The man behind the curtain. I think I've a bit of a Wizard of Oz personality. I know that RC Forward has done a lot of work over a few years now. It's grown. And this the parent organization. The parent organization is called Rethink Charity, right?
Yes.
Are there still sibling organizations to RC Forward?
No. Well,
it used to be, right?
In some sense, yeah. It depends on what you mean by sibling. I guess cousins.
Cousins.
Yeah,
neighbors.
Rethink Charity has been running quite a lot of EA projects over the years.
Rethink Charity is part of Rethink Priorities.
Rethink Priorities was part of Rethink Charity.
But now it's its own.
Yeah,
blossoming, amazing freaking.
So
thing.
we spun them off. If you can call it that, and then they also took off with the name, with the brand name Rethink, and so I get confused for people think I was from Rethink Priorities all the time, but that's fine.
But no, you can say I'm Rethink Priorities.
Yeah, but we are the
Uncle.
OG. Yeah, we are the OG Rethink.
Right, the first Rethink.
Yeah.
Now you got Reimagine Agriculture.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing the Rethink now.
Yeah.
I heard there's also a Rethink Agriculture or something like that.
Yeah, it is a good name.
Rethink Mental Health.
Yeah. It is a good name. It is a good name.
Rethink. Think again.
Yeah.
Think again. Mental health.
Yeah.
Think again.
Yeah, I want to shout out to the founders of Rethink Charity Foundation, Rethink Charity for that name. I think Baxter T. Came up with that name. I'm not completely sure, but I think it was them. Yeah.
Credit where it's due. Good names, they stick, right? And then people copy you, and then
that's right. Happy with Rethink.
Cool. I think that's all I had for questions today. The time. I really appreciate you staying around for this today. We're closing up the EA Canada retreat. We are like the last people here. It's a cool space. If you're in Toronto, hit up the organizers of EA Toronto, EAGX Toronto, and EA Canada. There's an amazing scene out here. There's offices of EA organizations up in this building, and there's so many cool people to talk to.
Shout out to Center for Social Innovation for hosting us. Yeah,
CSI, not crime scene, but
it's not flipped on the camera.
Yeah. People have to just flip themselves. All right, thank you. Thank you, SK.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with SK just now. Sometimes it's those small, focused, and diligent organizations that allow form and structure to exist within the community so that you and me, could walk our ideals, put that into practice. It makes a big difference for a lot of Canadians whether they pay the government as well as a charity. Having a tax receipt makes a big difference for how much people give to effective charities or whether or not they give in the first place. So thank you, RC Forward, for making that happen over the years. Now, what's next for the podcast? We just recorded 2 episodes in Boston. One is with Ivana Kessler from Living Lines. The other one is from Rachel Abbott from Kayak Guides. Both are AIM-incubated charity startups. They're both in the early stages, but they're really cool. Their ideas and their execution and the people who are doing their work, just great. I look forward to sharing them with you in the coming weeks. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe, not just on YouTube, but also on your podcast app. So you get the audio version when you're doing the dishes, or your video version when you want to look at us talk. Yeah, so that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening, and now go change the world.
Bye.